Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Code Chris Show. I am your host, Code Chris. Today, we're going to have a good show for you tonight. We have the post-pandemic internet discussion. We hypothesize a little bit about the World Wide Web in 2030 and much more. My guest today is Telmo, and he is a web developer in Manchester. His YouTube channel is Telmo Sampio. Please put your hands together. All right. Hi, Telmo. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited to talk about a lot of these topics with you and the audience. But real quick, for anybody who's new to your channel, can you tell us a little bit about your field and a little bit about what we can see on your YouTube channel?
I'm Telmo. As Chris, you just introduced me. So I'm a software engineer now. I live in Manchester in the UK, and I have a YouTube channel where I do some tutorials how to get started in the industry. Some things like learning React, Node.js, some databases as well. So really just like to help people get started in the industry.
So here on the show, we just want to hear your thoughts, your opinions. There's no right or wrong. We want to have a great discussion about a bunch of cool stuff, and you're a web developer, and your perspective is going to be very unique. So we want to hear about that. So speaking about your YouTube channel, so you do a lot of the education. Well, I'm seeing that a lot more where people are putting together courses online. Do you think that's kind of where the future of education is? Are you kind of now up against because over in Manchester, do they have free college as education?
No, they
Oh, they
don't.
don't.
We don't have free college. And it's actually super expensive. I think it's the same like in the US as well. Most of the students that they want to go to college, to university, they have to pay huge loans. And the thing is, I think that the traditional kind of teaching that you have to go to the university, you have to take a loan and everything. I think people start to realize that's not the only option that you have right now. And I've seen it myself with other colleagues that work with me. Some people they were self-taught, so they're learning everything by themselves. Some people they went to university, and we can see that even though people went to the university, doesn't mean that they learn everything that they need in order to do their job, because they learn so many different things that they don't specialize in just one thing. So
It's super slow too.
yeah, exactly. So it's
like
like most of the time, these kind of degrees, they are like three to 5 years, plus all these fees that you have to pay, accommodation and everything. I think people are starting to realize that there are better options out there. And this is where it comes like this kind of, there's things like boot camps, there is things like online courses, and it works because people are really taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I do think, especially now, like I learned my education online through a lot of things similar to yours, and your website's Telmo Academy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the online route is just basically the future. I mean, there's just, and especially when you talk about price, it's just not even comparable. And speed, the boot camps, you're talking about that?
Exactly. So the thing is, with this kind of courses, you can go at your own pace and you can learn a lot. And then you even compare the price. Is just like a win-win situation for everyone. You pay for one course, you have it forever, you can watch it whenever you want, and you learn at your own pace. And the majority of the places where you can buy courses, the instructors. So if you talk about places like they are super popular, like Udemy, you got Skillshare and so on. Just talking about the ones that are more popular. Most of the instructors that they put courses in these kind of places, if you ask some questions, they even get back to you. So I think is an awesome way to learn, really.
Awesome. Yeah, I've actually heard from some people too that there's like this idea of the kids who are in school, from grade school, high school, and even college especially, where the teachers can just start recording videos now and upload them online. You can actually see like Harvard classes on online on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. I think the great universities, they are starting to adopt already these methods. I think especially what happened now in this pandemic, really, a lot of universities, they had to shut down, so they can't just like close permanently and lose their money, so they had to adapt as well, so they had to launch like online classes.
Well, speaking of the pandemic, so I don't know if it's different over there. So over here in the States, I have a few guesses about what happened during the pandemic that's going to be staying moving forward, right? I expect that video conferencing is like here to stay, and those who make it easy, right, are going to be the ones who succeed. Do you have any thoughts about, like, you when you were experiencing the pandemic, things your company initiated that you think are going to be staying long term, or anything that's like, that was temporary, we're not doing that again?
So I think that what happened now with this pandemic was, I mean, of course, in general, what happened with everyone was not good, but in the industry itself, it opened a lot of doors for many different things. So I've had colleagues, for example, that they work in this kind of very old school, like traditional, like banks, that they require you to go to the office every single day. They want you to wear a certain kind of clothes and so on. So what happened now with the pandemic is like people are more comfortable to be working from home. They don't need to travel so much. Some people, they go to work, they spend like 1-2 hours traveling from the day. If you have a family, if you have kids or whatever, this is going to impact you even more.
Yeah.
So now the majority of the companies, when people they are going back to the office, they say no, 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 okay, we are not going to be like full time going to the office, because people, they are realizing that they can still be productive working from home. So a lot of companies now are adopting, like my company where I'm working, and others as well, is I think it's going to be like a mix, like working from home, going into the office at least 1 or 2 days per week.
Kind of like a hybrid system, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This is going to happen. And the good thing as well for this is that before, not many companies, they were allowing like, or hiring people to just work remotely. And now we are in a place now that a lot of companies, they are realizing, okay, we can actually hire people that they don't actually live in here but in other places, and they can still do their job, and we can still have meetings and so on. So I think this is going to be great for everyone.
Yeah, and so what's interesting is I've seen like some articles that say some of the big guys that you'd expect to be, being remote forever now, right? Like Facebook and Microsoft, the big boys, right? Well, like some of them are like, okay, we're going back to the office. And I'm like, really? You guys are at the forefront of technology, and you're gonna go ahead and say that? And but yeah, I totally agree with you, because I think also, if you're looking for a job, right? And if a company like isn't as big, can't offer as much money, I think a lot more like people like in our generation are much more going to be like, well, it doesn't make as much, but they let me have flexibility. They let me have remote time, or
Mhm.
that hybrid system.
Obviously, I think that this kind of hybrid system is great, because you can have a bit of both worlds. And the thing is, working from home is great, but there are also some downsides that you only experience them when you actually do that. So when you work from home, for example, you kind of start to be a bit isolated if you don't live like with other people and so on. So I had a lot of colleagues of mine that they live by themselves, and they're like, okay, I need to see people. I can't just stay at home all the time. So they need this kind of human contact, and it's also great. Like when you go at least like once or twice a week, meeting with other people, you can even go out for some drinks or whatever. It's this element of socializing that is also important, because when you are just all the time at home, I think people realize this when you were on a quarantine now because of COVID, and you don't see other people and so on. People, they
It
have
gets
this
to you.
of socializing, really.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I definitely, we had some people that were saying, I need to get back to the office just so I can I can see people again. I need to see people again, and that definitely makes sense. Some of them were trying to get away from their family. They were like, I need a break.
It can be as well. It can. Now this is another thing that I was thinking about. For example, for me, I'm quite comfortable in here in my office. I don't have like anyone bothering me or anything. But some people are different because they can live in a family that there is lots of people at home. Maybe they have lots of kids, or different people. They have different situations, and maybe they can't focus, or they can't work properly at home, so that they really need
Yeah.
to go back to the office. So it's a different situation really for everyone.
Yeah, when the pandemic started, we were in a one bedroom apartment, and basically we took my computer and squeezed it into our master bedroom so that I had a door I could close because there actually wasn't any other door that I could close. So yeah, no, I definitely get it. Okay, great. So now you're a web developer, and you're at the forefront of what's going on the internet, things about the future. Well, everybody's always typically talking about, hey, what's going to happen in 2021, 22, 23? And I feel like, okay, yeah, you can have some pretty basic guesses, but I want to go big. Think a decade from now, right? 2030, 2031. What is our interaction with the internet going to be like? Do you have any sort of guesses? I mean, we have some ideas from movies, but especially with things like, there's crypto coming out, there's a lot of AI systems, a lot of platforms like Shopify, Squarespace. Where do you see the internet being in about 10 years? What's different?
Well, I think that so we live in a world of data, really. So every single company out there, you got Facebook, you got Instagram, you got all these big boys like you're mentioning. They're just like collecting a lot of data from you to see like what kind of things you like, what kind of things you do, and this data is really used to personalize content that they can put in front of you and that you can consume and so on. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be everything much more personalized, like they are doing already. Whatever ads comes in front of you, whatever like videos, you go to YouTube, you got the videos that you watch. They just push these onto you.
Well, the YouTube thing's actually funny because I sometimes get a little bit annoyed with the YouTube algorithm because like I'll be listening to music or I'll be listening to like some news or whatever, and it's just like that's all my feed for a while, right? Like I gotta clear it out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that. I ended up I'm in the process of building a YouTube filter so I can just hide things accordingly because it's like, okay, I don't want 30 videos of music. I need to hear about this other thing.
Exactly. So I think it's going to be a lot around this. So this is also involved with machine learning, of course.
Yeah.
So is going to be really like the future. Personalize everything that is coming onto you. Uh, Either if you play games or you watch videos or whatever. And then I think that another big thing that definitely is going to come up is going to be some sort of virtual reality in a one way or the other. I feel like that we're going to see some stuff like, for example, you go on to online shop, like you want to buy like a t-shirt or some shoes or whatever. There's going to be some sort of a way that you can see that in your shoe.
Yes.
Either it's going to be like with your phone, that you just put the camera on your phone and you point
Yes.
it at your feet, or yourself into a mirror, and then you can see the t-shirt on you or a jacket or whatever. Because if people, without having actually have to try it, they can see that on themselves and how it would look like. I think it's going to be great. You can do already some stuff like
I
I've
was gonna
done.
say that's already started on like on Amazon. It's already started. We got a shelf and my wife like put it in the corner, right? Augmented reality and yeah, clothing. Sorry, go ahead, continue. But
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm 100% agree with you.
yeah,
100%
I
agree.
was just saying like I was trying, for example, I don't know if it was a couple of months ago or whatever, like an app that you can just like point into the walls and just see, for example, how your walls would look like with a different color if you want to paint them or whatever. I thought, wow, this is amazing, because this is going to drive more sales because people, they feel more comfortable to see how does it look like. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Although, so one thing that I think it's starting to make its way a present, because so I guess Apple just like mentioned that like they're gonna by default like turn the Facebook like privacy settings on, right? And I know people like on the one hand you get that personalized experience of like it's really catered to you, right? Great for advertisers. So do you think there's going to be like sort of like these sort of like two rival sort of technologies where it's like, oh, there's the people who go on Facebook, assuming it's still around, and they get very personalized targets from the algorithm, or there's the people who basically have these sort of general ads sent to them because they're so off the data, or is that even possible to be off, not have data collected?
So I think that a lot of people, they have this kind of this problem with their data being collected. Oh my god, I'm gonna have like, or they are spying on me or whatever.
Yeah.
uh, when happened this now with the COVID-19 as well, like a lot of people say, oh my god, if you're going to get a vaccine, they're going to put a GPS on you and they're
They
going to
have a
track.
GPS in your pocket.
Yeah. They're gonna like
That's,
track you wherever you are and whatever. But then they go on to Facebook, and oh, I'm just having a coffee with whatever with they tell
at this
everyone.
address, at this
Yeah,
location,
they
at this
tell
time.
everyone where they are, with who they are, what they are doing. They share this publicly, like on their social media all the time, and they're like concerned after. Oh, these companies, they are just stealing all my data. The majority of the people, they don't understand that they are doing it like for free. And one thing that it actually happening here in the UK. So I think there's like something similar in the US, which is like the Shark Tank, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, do you guys have the Golden Den, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the
We
dragon,
have,
we have
yeah,
the dragon
the
there.
Dragon's Den. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen those. I've seen those too. But yeah, Shark Tank,
yeah,
Golden Den, or
yeah. So
Dragon.
we got one episode that I saw the other day, which was actually great. So was a guy saying that he was like starting this company where people, they could like install their app or whatever, and for free, like completely from their own initiative, share their own data. So this company, they could collect this data and just like give it to, I don't know, Facebook or whatever, these other companies. But the people who are sharing this data, they get paid for it. So you are
Yes.
the steps that you give, or maybe the stuff that you buy, because you got this app tracking this stuff, you don't mind to share this because maybe you don't have nothing to hide, that's fine. But the good thing is that you get paid for it. So people, they say, okay, if I don't mind to share this, might as well get paid for it.
I've heard of something similar, a proposal where basically there's like a digital check, right? So
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, I'll share my data with you, but since you're making money off of me, I want like a cut of that data because I know it's valuable. So
Exactly.
that would be cool. So you're a web developer, and obviously, AI platforms, they're trying to find whatever ways they can to need less people in different work fields. So as a web developer, you see platforms like the Squarespace, the Wix. I don't know if Weebly's even still around, but you see these platforms, Shopify, right? Is that something you see as a long-term threat for developers, or it's like it's its own thing? There'll always be a need for the pros to do specific things. And in 10 years, what do you think those specific things that you're going to be able to kind of like bring to the table, as a coder, as a developer?
Hmm. Yeah, I don't see these kind of platforms as a threat, not at all. Because, as I've been working for a long time now in the industry, I start to realize that these kind of platforms, the majority of the time, they are really just like for small, medium companies. Because what these platforms allow you to do is having a standard platform where you have already some predefined things in there. So you just want to quickly release something, that you want to sell something. Because in the end of the day, Squarespace, Shopify, even WordPress, they allow you for some customization, but not as much as you would like. So when you go to serious companies that they want to do like some real end stuff, they need developers to actually implement these kind of things. So if you go and watch like these kind of big companies, I don't know, like Patreon or Instagram or whatever, or Netflix, none of these companies, they are done using this kind of
Yeah,
Shopify or whatever.
yeah.
Uh,
Netflix isn't using a
yeah,
Wix or Squarespace.
for example, I'm still using a platform for my own courses called Teachable. And this kind of platform is very similar to Shopify, WordPress, and whatever. They allow you, they give you some kind of structure, a template where you can put, for example, your courses, give it a bit of some descriptions, a price, and whatever, and that's it. But you don't have control. If you want to change the way that it looks, or if you want to add, oh, maybe I want to add some wish list, or maybe I want to add some bundles to sell some courses for, they don't have nothing of that. That's why I've been working for the past 1 year in my own platform. So I've been
Mhm.
coding it myself, learning a lot along the way. But I really see like the potentials that when you actually do it from scratch yourself, you can do whatever you want. It's just amazing. You don't have these kind of restrictions. So I definitely don't see any Shopify or WordPress or anything to be any kind of problem for developers. Plus, these people that they have these WordPress, Shopify, and so on, if they need some sort of modification, some fixes here and there, they will still need developers to go there and do the job because they can't do it.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
either these people they are too busy, they have no idea. It takes time, so they will still need people, developers, to do this kind of work.
10 years from now, that shortage still exists? Are there essentially like even more need for developers in the future? Or it's what we have now will kind of just get filled in and then AI will take the difference?
No, I think that there will still be a lot of need for developers. And I'm not sure if even in 10 years we will have enough people doing this, because the thing is, at the moment, development is getting trendy. Like, oh, everybody wants to get in development and so on. But the reality is different when people actually start to get in. Because last year I worked 1 year as a bootcamp instructor. So I worked in a bootcamp teaching people how
Okay,
to get
cool.
into the industry and so on. And I noticed a lot of people that, oh yeah, I want to become a developer. They were all excited. Once they get in there, even things that they are for beginners, we're talking about learning the fundamentals of a programming language, like what's a variable, different
Mhm.
things like what's a function and so on. And when people they face these kind of barriers, just the beginning, a lot of people they get scared. They say, no, no, okay, this is not for me. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be enough of people, and the demand is just going to increase. But in the end of the day, this is just going to be good for us developers, because there's not going to be enough people.
So
There will be
it's good
always
for the bottom line. It's good for
there
the
is
bottom
always
line
going
for
to
the
be
developer.
a demand for people who know this. So I think there is, at the moment, there is already a big competition between companies to hire, because like junior developers, maybe you have a lot of them coming up or whatever, but
Right.
the problem is that a junior developer doesn't have the same experience, doesn't have the same speed like a senior developer. It's
Yeah.
completely different, because a senior developer knows what he's doing, knows what kind of technology he has to do, knows what he's testing, knows basically everything from front to back. And that's why the salaries are so good, because the senior developers are not free at all. Because if you are a senior developer with good skills, most likely you already have a company that is paying you a good salary. And that's why
Sure.
the companies, they are just like competing with each other, like, oh, let's try to headhunt that guy. I get a lot of calls all the time from people on LinkedIn and so on, trying to recruit me. But once you get to a certain level that you already have like a really good salary, is difficult just like to move into different roles because you just want to look at benefits. Okay, salary,
Right.
once you get to a certain point that you already have such a good salary that you're like, I'm not going to move for anything, because there's a lot of things that you need to take in consideration. Will
Hmm.
you like the kind of culture from that company? Will you like the people that you will work with? Are they offering you like any good benefits for you to join them?
What do you think about especially because we're talking about the future, right? So remote work, like you said, hybrid system, kind of a thing that's here to stay. Do you see essentially the expectation, like the standard across the board is like if a company doesn't offer remote work, that company probably still won't exist in the
Yeah,
future?
yeah, yeah. I think that at least for the majority of the developers, I think that everyone likes to be at home, like not all the time, but some days you are just feeling like, oh, I can't go to the office today. Or I think that if companies from here now on they don't offer these, they have no chance. They have no chance, really.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So what are your thoughts on the sort of gig economy as it's going to be for people building websites, right? Because at a certain point, like you said, like with the senior skill set, especially in the future, people need developers to build their websites. And instead of working for companies, do you see maybe more people being like, you know what? I have enough skill set. I can just build my own thing, right? You're building your own platform. So do you see more people basically opting to build something of kind of like be like carpenters, right? They're going to build something of their own and then sell it instead of working for a company, or do you think it's going to be kind of like it is now? There's a mix of people about
Yeah, yeah. There's like a couple of different roles that you can do. If you want to opt like for a career as yourself as a freelance, or you want to start your own company, definitely there's like loads of different routes. You can go through the route of a freelancer, which is basically not like building something from scratch yourself, but you join a company to help them with something based on your skill set. You can try to build, for example, your kind of digital agency where you will actually offer like some services, some products that you can sell to other companies. But the thing is, if you are just working by yourself, it's very difficult to do everything by yourself, because you need to wear all the different hats.
all the hats? Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So the thing is, you need to know how to deal with the companies. You need to know how you price. You need to know how to do invoices or whatever. There's loads of things. Maybe you even need to know how to have the designs or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But there's things now like to help out with a lot of that, right? There's like Fiverr, right?
Mhm.
Where so like you see a lot of people like putting like their logos, they're recruiting somebody for like a one-off gig. I actually wonder what future entrepreneur is going to be like. I kind of think that it people of whatever field they're in are going to be utilizing the online tools, platforms that exist, and basically being able to, you know what? I totally lost my train of thought. I'm just going to cut that whole thing out.
That's okay.
Well, anyways, actually, one of the things is that's a pretty hot thing going on right now is crypto. Have you gotten into it? Are you interested in it? Is it something that's confusing to you? Do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I actually got into crypto. I would say it was like beginning of 2017. So 2017 was like, I don't remember now. There was like a big bull run. We call a bull run, for anyone that doesn't know, these like when the prices they are just like
They're just shooting up.
skyrocketing. So I think it was like in the beginning of 2017 that I got into it by a colleague of mine, that he was saying, hey, these things, I was like, what's that cryptocurrency and so on. I still don't know a lot, to be honest, but I'm trying to get educated as I go. I'm trying to make some sensible investments as well. So never invest any money that you actually need, because you can you can lose it all. But I really believe that crypto is here to stay. We definitely gonna use it, because you can see that the banks have been using and abusing of our money with fees and all
Oh
different.
yeah. Well, and just Yeah. So the reason why I bring it up is I too am learning about crypto. Like I'm actually reading like the Bitcoin white papers and being like, okay, what's this really thing? And I think a lot of people are still learning, which is good. So you got in early, and you know, one of the things that actually it kind of made me notice, if I'm understanding it correctly, because it'll be directly peer to peer, I actually wonder if it's going to make it easier for you and other people to do things like build your own website, to build your own platform. Because normally you go to these platforms because you need that security of like, hey, I need to know that when somebody puts in a credit card, that it's secure, that it goes to me, that I can trust. And now you get to the future. Hey, I have a website. Here's my digital wallet, and that's
Exactly.
it, right?
Exactly.
And then all the companies, and this is actually one thing I was wondering, all the companies like Shopify, Venmo, all that stuff, because they have to deal with all this extra security for digital transactions, well, they don't have that overhead anymore. Does that mean that from a website building side, we're just basically building glorified GUI interfaces that are just, fancy wallets?
It could be. It could be. So I think that I've even heard that that PayPal is going to start accepting payments
Mm-hmm.
as cryptocurrencies.
Yep.
We know that Elon Musk as well was accepting Bitcoin for a while until he dropped it.
Yeah.
He was he was
For
having.
everybody who had Bitcoin was freaking out as that thing went down.
Yeah, and then it was that thing with the Dogecoin and so
Mm-hmm.
on. With things like that we just seen that, for example, Dogecoin, that was a coin that was created as a meme, and there was like no real utility. So you can see different cryptocurrencies that they are created to try to solve a problem. There was one cryptocurrency that I invested a long time ago called VeChain. Is actually doing like very well at the moment. There was like try to see when a product is like created, and you can see all the steps where it was created, where it was transported, and so on. So there's loads of these cryptocurrencies with actual value, and then there's like these kind of cryptocurrencies like Dogecoin that they have no value at all, that they don't solve any problem, and it's just because of the hype or
Oh
whoever
yeah.
is like trying to promote them. People are like, okay, Elon Musk is talking about this, so you just have to be careful really on what kind of things you invest.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like, don't take a house mortgage and and put your entire
Exactly.
house on Doge. Before we wrap up, is there any cool stuff that you think would be worth kind of mentioning or talking about in regards to web development of the future, or just any kind of cool technology that you're keeping your eye on? We kind of briefly touched on crypto.
I would say that as we are evolving with the software development and so on, there's loads of things that they are moving on to the cloud. So things like AWS, things like Google Cloud, like Azure, and so on, and like tools like Docker and so on. I think that they are here to stay, and they are helping a lot of companies, because dealing with servers is a headache really. And since I've been like building my own platform, I really start to appreciate these kind of tools like AWS, for example. And I started to use it now at my current job, and I think this is something that everyone, even if you are a front-end developer, someone that you are just starting out, if you can start having a look on what's AWS, what's the cloud, and so on, I think it would be something really good and beneficial to you.
Today's the 27th, so June 1st, I think Google's photos are no longer going to be like unlimited to the cloud.
Hmm.
I'm actually wondering what's going to happen with that, because I keep up with tech stuff, right? You keep up with tech stuff.
Hmm.
My grandma does not. My parents aren't really big tech people, right? So what's going to happen with a lot of people, and they're like, why isn't my phone like backing up?
Yeah, I think that they start to give you some kind of warnings. They already said this from December or November last year that they would do. So they are giving people plenty of time that they are gonna terminate this service. From what I have seen, if I'm not wrong, they also will give you, I believe, it's like a 2 years 2 years for you actually to take all your data out. So from June 27th something,
Uh-huh.
you will not be able to actually upload anything for free. So it will count for your quota. But whatever you have in there, that's
Mhm.
fine for 2 years. So you'll have a period of 2 years, if I'm not wrong. So it's a lot of time that you
To
can
grab it all.
go take it all out. And then after this 2 years period, what they are going to do is they are going to start deleting the oldest ones.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I know that is a bit, so something is happening similar now to Amazon Photos. They are doing exactly the same strategy, which
Oh,
is
really?
they are putting everyone completely for free. They're saying unlimited resolution. They're saying
Yeah.
you can just go upload everything. But what's going to happen is like maybe in 2 years or 3 years, doesn't mean that it's going to be right now. They are going to use the same strategy. They will say, I'm sorry, but we can't keep up with the demand. This is going to be super expensive. And then after
Mhm.
they're going to say, you will have to pay. But I'm sure they
Right.
will give you some time to just
Yeah,
like take it off.
they'll probably just raise the cost of the Prime membership.
Yeah, yeah.
That's their in. Well, Telmo, it's been awesome touching base with you again. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
No problem. Thank you for having me. It was a great chat.
In hopefully maybe 2030, 2031, we'll touch base again and see if any of these predictions came to fruition. To
That would
see
be
what
awesome.
happens. All right, folks. Well, have a good night, and Telmo, thank you again for coming.
Cheers. See you
Bye
later.
bye.